My name is Brad Crane, and I'm the President and CEO of Arvest Bank. Arvest Bank is grateful to be a part of the 90 Ideas Forum. We think it's a great investment of your time and of our dollars in our community.
Good morning. I am blessed to work in a culture where people are incredibly important. And that isn't because of Brad Thomas, and it's not because of any particular individual, but it's because of a passion that's been inspired since the day Silver Dollar City opened May 1st, 1960. You can see my 10 ideas in the book. They're not rocket science, and many of them you may roll your eyes around. I will tell you this, that each of those ideas I have a passion about. Actually, I could give you more, not that I multitask, but I could give you more ideas, but to narrow it down to those 10, I will let you know that I'm passionate about every single one of those, but I have to admit I am not perfect on any of them, nor is my organization. But those are the principles on which I try to operate my life, and those are the principles in which we try to operate our business, but it's a journey. So I would hope that for a few minutes you can just go with me on a little bit of a journey as we just talk about some principles that I think are incredibly important. First of all, and this is kind of preaching to the choir here, be one who wants to learn versus one who knows. Obviously, being in a room at 7:30 in the morning on a winter day, you all want to learn. And I don't care whether we're 22 years old or we're 80 years old. We have a choice in life. Do we want to be that person who doesn't need to go to any workshops, doesn't need to read any books, doesn't need to watch any tech talks, doesn't need to do anything because they already know? Caution. One day, that person will wake up and they'll live in a world in which they no longer know. It's an old saying, but it's so accurate today more than ever before. Think about this. 10 years ago, the iPhone had just debuted. I think for most of us who reflect on those announcements back in 2006 when the iPhone was getting ready to roll out in 2007, I think we thought, well, so Apple's coming up with the phone. It's kind of like an iPod, but we didn't quite get it. Now, look what has rocked this planet in 10 years. Whether you're an iPhone user or you have some other mobile device, they drive the business. 10 years ago, none of us could have comprehended that we would put our boarding pass on that device and we would board planes. We would get messages about whether the plane was boarding or departing on time or whatever the case may be, or just look at what all you do on that device. 10 years ago, it didn't even happen. Now, fast forward, it's December of 2027. What will emerge in the next 10 years that we have absolutely no idea? And it could impact the consumers, it could impact our employees, it could impact our entire lives, and we don't even know what it is. So, do you want to be a learner or do you want to be a knower? Because the knower will fall asleep at the wheel and miss some incredible something that's impacting the world around them versus those who are out there watching those trends, watching how consumers change, watching how employees change. It's equally important to understand how our customers are changing, but it's also important to understand how our employees are changing because guess what? If we don't understand that, we will become irrelevant and we'll be one of those knowers who no longer know what the world is around them. This one, I suspect that most everybody in here is going to nod your head because we have to understand and have respect for the customer. The person who walks into our businesses, the person who orders the office furniture, or the person that goes to a show, or the person that comes to a theme park, or the person that spends money with any of us, we all recognize their importance. But I would also argue that it's important that as business people, that we understand that sometimes our customers can be internal. Our company created a philosophy many years ago, and I don't take credit for this at all, But I think it rocked our corporate climate when we started recognizing that the people who serve, like our finance folks, like our safety folks, like the individuals that are all around us that may not ever interact with that customer who comes into Silver Dollar City or the Showboat or to Whitewater, but those internal functions, the customer is the internal customer. The difference is the finance team recognizes that they have to serve the internal customer because the internal customer has to serve the paying customer. And boy, you want to talk about a paradigm shift? Have those folks who are running those antiquated numbers, Steve, have those folks who are running that day-to-day business recognize that they are here to serve that internal customer. Creates a partnership that rocks the corporate culture because now the accountant isn't the critic, the accountant is the team player. The safety person isn't the one that's just out to go be the gotcha person to find safety violations, but that safety person is out to help find solutions to keep the internal customer and the external customer safe. I would challenge you. We all recognize the importance of that external customer walking into our businesses, but also recognize if you can get your support staff to start having a passion for the internal customer. We even care so much that we'll often do internal surveys just to see how an internal group is doing with regard to their fellow employees. I'll combine points 4 and 5 because they're very similar, but let's just shout out. How many emails do you get in the course of a day? A million, hundreds? How many? 80? You know what? I think most of us would say we can easily get 100, 200, 300, or a million emails in the course of a day. It's a good thing because you can communicate. It's a bad thing because you can become addicted. It's like heroin. You can become addicted to the emails. And you sit at your tablet, you sit at your iPhone, you sit at whatever the device is that you're answering those emails, and all you get done in the course of a day is answer the emails. Anybody know anybody like that? Boy, we got to be careful and put ourselves in the mirror. Is what we're doing just responding to those emails? Stephen Covey had a concept that he taught 20-something years ago, and it's very relevant today. It has to do with separating the big rocks from all the pebbles and the grains of sand. Because if we're not careful, we will spend all of our time on the little stuff and not take the time for the big stuff. So you have to calendar the big stuff because those emails are still going to be there. But be very, very careful that we're not spending so much time on the big stuff that we have time to, or so much time on the little stuff. What is my time? I'm done. Okay, I am so sorry. I do want to just say one more thing. Last point. Please remember, these are the good old days. Think about those words. These are the good old days. So celebrate them and enjoy them. So sorry.